What's up, guys? It's Mock Draft Monday. Saturday and Sunday have concluded the first round of wildcard games, except for Houston and Pittsburgh, who play tonight. However, that shouldn't affect the draft order too much. Picks 1 through 18 are already solidified, and picks 19 through 30 are the only ones that'll get changed, but that's basically set for the most part. It shouldn't change too much regardless of the outcome of this game. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this video out now. I think it's a perfect time to make a mock draft because there is a lot going on in the draft landscape. So, number one on the clock are the Las Vegas Raiders. And after Friday night's game where the Hoosiers dismantled the Ducks, this feels like it is a chalk pick. It is just a layup. I think the Raiders waste no time running in this card to the commissioner. It's going to be Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, a guy who isn't your typical number one overall pick, I would say. He has a very high floor, but his ceiling is very questionable. We don't know what the best of his abilities look like, and the next level, how well can he play. But what we do know is he brings consistent quarterback play, great size, great accuracy, great character, teammates love him. I think he is going to be the future of an NFL team, no matter where it is. But if that is Vegas, then that's who the Raiders would hope they'd be getting. So they're going to go ahead and take Fernando Mendoza and hope that they have just secured their quarterback for the future. Now, number two. This has gotten strange because I would say for the past month it has been an easy pick to select Dante Moore out of Oregon. However, Oregon has been bringing back talent. Their players who we assumed would declare for the draft have not done so. If you'll notice, Amari Washington is no longer here. He has declared that he will be coming back for another year. Kenyon Sadiq, their star tight end, he's still here, but he believes that he has unfinished business in Oregon. We don't know whether he intends to come out or not. It's a strange situation. We don't know. Will Emmanuel Pregnon, what does he intend to do? This could be a weird situation. I don't know what to think. I think he would have to come out considering his eligibility. I'm not quite sure. But it is hard to say whether Dante Moore is going to come out or not. Now, considering that Dylan Raiola has just recently transferred to Oregon, that doesn't solidify that Dante Moore is going to come out, but there's a sign that points to him wanting to come out. Nothing's guaranteed, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to assume that Dante Moore is coming out to the NFL. Now, if he does end up coming back to college, I will make another mock draft, an anti-Dante Moore mock draft, but for now, he's the guy. And I don't know what the future lies for Dante Moore, but he's going to be the pick here. He is not the most sound prospect. He has a lot of flaws. He got exposed, I feel like, by Indiana at times. He was very sloppy. Texas Tech was kind of a warning for that. He didn't play his best game there either. His performance against high-caliber defenses is very questionable. I'm not sure how he'll scale up against NFL competition, but he's got a solid New York Jets roster. In terms of an offensive line, they're very good and young. Pass catchers need some work, but he's not going into too bad of a situation. But there's just a lot of uncertainty lying around the Oregon quarterback. Number three. The Cardinals are on the clock, and this feels like a pick that could go a multitude of ways. They have a lot of holes on the roster, and I think just going best player available is what is screaming out to me. This is a no-trade mock draft, so they can't exactly trade out. And would there even be a team that would want to trade up to number three and take a pick here? I feel like a lot of these guys who are the top picks of the draft could fall down easily. I could see a guy like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love being available in this 8 to 16 range. You don't really have to be aggressive in this draft, considering the needs that are in the top 6, top 8. I think they just need to go best player available. And you generally want to look at the top 3. Caleb Downs, phenomenal. He's my number 1 overall player in this draft. He's, I would say, the consensus number 1 overall. But you really can't take a safety with a number 3 overall pick. As good as he is, I mean, taking a safety at number 3, especially when you already have Buda Baker, that doesn't really address your needs. I don't know how much better of a team you become. Taking Jeremiah Love, I mean, the Raiders took Ashton Genty with their pick, and look, they're picking number 1. I don't know that drafting a star running back shoots you in the right trajectory, but I think taking a guy like Arvell Reese, a freakishly athletic defensive guy who can generate tons of pressure off the edge, he can drop back as an off-ball linebacker, hawk down plays, be a beast at the line of scrimmage. I think he can do a lot of things for this defense that they did not have going into this year. This Cardinals defense has gotten torched a lot. Jonathan Gannon is out, but I think whatever coach comes in is going to recognize what they'll be getting if they do take Arvell Reese. So he is going to be the pick for me in Arizona. He's just going to have to be a building block for the future. And the Cardinals hope that they're getting everything that they think comes with him, which is a Micah Parsons-esque kind of player. Number 4, Titans are on the clock. They have a lot of holes on this roster, just like Arizona. But they're faced with a decision, and that would be, do you help this defense that has struggled so badly this year? They got, 40 plus points dropped on them by Jacksonville. Their defense is just they have so many positions that need quality guys. Or do you help out Cam Ward, who's been throwing to Alec Ayamaner and Chimere DK all year? I mean, what do you choose? You arrive at a crossroads, and it's a tough pick to make. I think, once again, you rule out Caleb Downs. He's a great player, but safety isn't really your main concern. Jeremiah Love is a possibility. And again, I feel like Cam Ward needs pass catchers if you're going to go on offense. And I don't think, Jeremiah Love, he can catch the ball at a high level. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Ruben Bain, I feel like you already have a Ruben Bain-esque player in Jeffrey Simmons. Bailey, that's risky value for a top 4 pick. I think the most sense is just taking a pass catcher, one of these 2 elite receivers, and Tyson or Tate. It'd be a bit too high for Lemon, at least to me. I think Tyson and Tate give you a lot of possibilities with this offense, and big playmakers, and Cam Ward is a guy who is elite at times. He has highlight reel plays, but he just doesn't really have anyone who's been able to be on the same page as him and be a wide receiver 1. I think between the 2, it could very well as much come down to the Tennessee general manager just looks at the 2 colleges and says, oh, one is from Ohio State. Ohio State has surefire guys. It could be that, or it could be Jordan Tyson, too many injuries, we don't want him. Or it could be Cardinal Tate isn't polished enough yet, doesn't have as high as a ceiling as Tyson. Give me Tyson. I think the safer pick needs to be made here. I think they need to go for a higher floor, considering the level of play they got this year. And I think Tate just has a higher floor. Tyson, too many injuries. A lot of questions around him. Granted, he has a very high ceiling, but I think Tate just gives you a much safer receiving option. Number 5, Giants are on the clock. I think they would have liked to have Tate in that scenario, but you don't get him. Now you have to pivot, and I think you're presented with 2 to 3 options here. I think you either go Jordan Tyson, the next best guy, pair him with Malik Neighbors, get a nice duo for Jackson Dart. You go Caleb Downs, a dynamic defender who would completely change the trajectory of this defense. Their secondary is not very good. He also provides excellent support in the run game. Or Peter Woods, throw him in the interior, make this defensive line solidified, and really just have a dominant defensive front. And I think this pick will depend on whatever coach lands in New York, whether it's John Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, or maybe a defensive-minded head coach like Jeff Hafley, maybe Jim Schwartz, Hayden Durd. I don't really know. But I think you can't go wrong with surrounding your quarterback with playmakers and making it much easier on them. Jackson Dart seems like the answer in New York. I think they gotta help him out, especially with Wan'Dale Robinson being a free agent. Jordan Tyson can really be an X on this team. Pair him with Malik Neighbors. That could be scary if they're both playing their best ball. I think you gotta get Jackson Dart, your receiver for the future, hopefully, but he just has to be able to stay healthy, which is a big concern in New York. That field, there is something wrong with it. Number 6, Cleveland Browns are on the clock. They've got to be pretty agitated here, the way this fell out. They miss out on the top 2 receivers. This is a very high spot to take Lemon. You don't really want to reach on him. But then you think, oh, okay, we can just get offensive line. It's probably our biggest need, right? It is, but this would be a pretty high reach for these guys. I see them going, I mean, to me, at true value, face value, they're around 12 to 18 territory. Fano and Maui Noah, both pretty similar prospects. I think Maui Noah gets the edge now, mostly because of how dominant he's been in this playoff run. He has been phenomenal. We haven't seen Fano do the best against elite competition. The Texas Tech game was a major turning point for him this season. But the Browns are forced into a hand where they can't trade out right now. I don't even think anyone would trade up. They got to go offensive line. And between Fano and Maui Noah, I think they lean Maui Noah. I think he has been the all-around better prospect. You can kick him into guard if he doesn't work out long-term at tackle. He's going to hopefully solidify this offensive line. They have a lot of guys leaving in free agency. They need a youth. They need a spark who can just block for Quinshon Judkins should he come back fully healthy, provide a good pocket for whatever quarterback is at the helm next year. I think Maui Noah is going to be the guy that Cleveland takes. It's going to be a bit of a reach, but you have to hope that Miami upside works out. Number 7, the Washington Commanders. This, to me, has to be defense. Their defense was terrible this year. Like, really, really bad. And I think it really comes down to Downs, Bain, or Bailey. I think you take Peter Woods here, especially with the talent given. And they just don't have a lot of dudes. They don't have a lot of guys who can get after the quarterback or make big plays, force turnovers. It is hard to figure out. I think I'm going to lean going pass rush for Washington. To me, that leaves us between Bain and Bailey. Where do you lean? I think Bain is more of a... I mean, he is a tweener. I think he's going to be more of an interior kind of guy at the next level. I don't know if he can play edge full time. I don't think the arms are that huge of an issue. He's shown he can dominate against elite competition with them, but I think the best of his ability is going to be taken out in a different scheme from Washington. Meanwhile, David Bailey, a pure pass rusher, guy who can get after the quarterback like no one else in this class. He is just ridiculous. I think Bailey would be a great pick for Washington. if he plays to the level that he's been playing at lately. If he plays at that level, he's going to be an immediate double-digit sack guy, and hopefully a long-term option for them at edge rusher, because they need youth. They need it bad on that D-line, because they have not been able to get home very much at all this year, and it has killed them. Saints are on the clock at 8. They have a great selection of dudes they can take here. I mean, the board has fallen out incredible for the 9 through 12 range here. In 8 too, of course. I think this one's either going to be Jeremiah Love or Peter Woods. And I think this team just fully believes in Tyler Shuck, and they want to invest all their resources in him. I know, I get it, they would want a pass catcher, but what you don't understand, I mean, a lot of people don't understand, is that Jeremiah Love, I mean, he is a pass catcher. He was great in terms of receiving yards. He had 280 this year, 27 catches. That is great for the amount that he played. I mean, he got taken out a lot of games, and he was split in the backfield. I wouldn't say split, but he was sharing a backfield with Jadarian Price. I think in a full Kellen Moore offensive scheme, we saw what Kellen Moore could do with Saquon Barkley. I bet he has got to be in love with Jeremiah Love as a prospect. I think it would be a home run kind of pick, because Alvin Kamara is on his way out. He is not going to be as good as this guy. Saints find their star running back of the future. That could be huge for this New Orleans team. Number 9, Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock, and this has fallen beautifully. They have arguably the two best. Well, I think Alvaro Reese is better, but they have two elite defensive prospects, is what I meant to say. Do you take Downs or do you take Bain? I think it's going to be either one. I don't think you go Makai Lemon. I don't think you go Mansour Delane. I don't think you go Fano. I think it's going to be one of these two guys. Because it's not like the Super Bowl window has closed for this team. I mean, they can retool as long as they get some more out of the guys I already have. Bring in some extra pieces. I mean, they can be right back in this playoff race next year. And to me, the best course of action is just taking best player available. Get the best guys possible you can get on this team. And to me, I mean they have bigger needs than safety, but bringing in a guy like Caleb Downs is a game changer. Spagnuolo could use him all over this field. He would be a chess piece for him. He would make it so much harder on all the offenses he goes against. Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, they're not going to be happy to see this pick. And as a dude, I think Kansas City is going to love him, even if they don't really need a safety. That's a big time pick for them. Number 10, not going to waste too much time. The Bengals got to take the best defensive player available. And what do you know? A arguably top 5 prospect, Ruben Bain, has fallen all the way to number 10. Maybe it's because of the T-Rex arms or just personal preference, but he fell to number 10. Bengals run this draft card, and he's a great pick for them. They have Shamar Stewart, but he's been questionable as of late. I don't know if they really hit on that pick. He looked like a big bust to start the year. He's gotten a bit better, but I think Bain would just outshine him completely. That'd be a great piece to this defense. Number 11, the Dolphins have a multitude of directions they could go in, and I think it will depend on the coach. I think an offensive-minded coach is going to take an offensive guy. I think defensive coach will take probably some secondary piece. But obviously we don't know what coach it'll be. But if I had to take a guy now, I think I'm going to lean towards Mansour Delane, corner out of LSU. This Miami cornerback room is depleted. I don't know if you could name me one or two guys in that Miami secondary. It is a rough room. They have Minka Fitzpatrick, but that is about it. They need guys. Mansour Delane has had a great year for LSU. He really looks like the real deal. There are very little questions about him. Maybe some arm length questions. Can he really have that big of a catch radius? Be able to bat down balls? I really don't see it being a big issue. I think he would be a great pick for them. Start getting this defense back to being more competent and keeping this team in games as a whole. Secondary has to be addressed, I think, at day one or day two. Miami needs a corner. I'm going to go ahead and take it in day one. Cowboys, just like the Bengals, easy pick here. Their linebacker play has been terrible, and the best linebacker in this class, other than maybe Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, maybe a top 5 prospect to some people. I mean, what a dude. He didn't miss a single tackle the whole regular season, 0% up until that Miami game, where he maybe missed 2, 3 at the most. He has great coverage instincts. He used to be a safety, but he's such a beast in the run game too. He would completely change this Cowboys defense. Him being a Pro Bowler as a rookie. I mean, he is a guy, and Dallas does not hesitate to take him whatsoever. Baltimore is on the clock at 14, and they have 3 underlying needs. They need a wide receiver. They need someone to replace Dylan Falele. They need someone to throw on that D-line. And 2 of those needs could be addressed at the top of the board here. Peter Woods could slide into where Nnamdi Madubuike is. Oh, I'm looking at the Ravens. Right, we're on the Rams here. I had already made up the Rams pick in my head because it was so easy. Their cornerback play is brutal. They were getting torched by Carolina. They got torched by Michael Wilson in Week 18. Seattle torched them. Their corners, I mean, Forbes has been a great reclamation project, but I think they need consistent corner play. There are a lot of questions around Jermon McCoy, but I think if he can put together a good combine, if he goes, good pro day, I think McCoy could add a lot of value to this defense. I think he would be a great corner for them. Okay, now we are at the Ravens. As I was saying, 3 underlying needs. 2 of them are at the top of the board here. Peter Woods could slide into where Nnamdi Madubuike is, or was. I don't know if he's going to retire or not. And then Mekhi Lemon could be a receiver. Now, I think what makes this an easy pick is if you take Mekhi Lemon, he is just like Zay Flowers with better hands. I feel like you're just taking another small receiver. You're not really adding any size to this room. I love Lemon, but he doesn't really fit in this Baltimore offense. Considering you already have Zay Flowers, who is like a carbon copy of Lemon in a lot of ways. But Peter Woods, there's no guy like him. You're not going to find another guy like him in this class. He provides so much in pass rush and run stuffing. I think he completely changes the trajectory of this defensive line. Starts turning things for the better, because this Baltimore defense has not been one to be proud of. They need to turn things around. Peter Woods is that guy. He can, if anyone could do it, he can. $15 are on the clock. They wish they had Sonny Styles. I could see this team trading up to where Miami is and hopping over Dallas to get Sonny Styles because they need a linebacker replacement badly. They need pass rush. There's been some offensive line questions, especially in the interior. Just who do you take? I think it's got to be edge. But Falk or Howell? They struggled to stop the run. They've struggled to sack the quarterback. Falk is a great run stopper, and Cassius Howell has unmatched production as a pass rusher. But this is a tough choice. But I think it's controversial here, but I'm going to lean Cassius Howell. Cassius Howell is a dude who can get to the quarterback at an unreal rate. I believe he led the SEC in sacks as a whole. I mean, he has short arms, granted. That's going to be a problem. I don't think you can get around that as an edge rusher. However, I do believe it can work out with his talent and his motor. I think he can affect the game in a big way, even with those arms. The way he'll be able to defend the run is going to be a big question. How will he do against that? I don't know. I think they're going to have to address the linebacker in the next round to be able to help with that. But I think they just need true pass rush. And Cassius Howell is a guy who can give them true elite pass rush in the first round. The Jets are back on the clock after not selecting since pick 2 where they took Dante Moore, quarterback out of Oregon. They have a decision to make here. Do you address this abysmal defense that has not played anywhere near a competent level? Or do you give Dante Moore another weapon and complete your offense, basically? It's a tough choice, but given the selections that you have, there's not a lot you can do on defense. Maybe Caleb Banks on the interior, or Cade McDonald. Not a lot of good picks. But I think this is tremendous value, getting Mekhi Lemon at pick 16. Your receiving core would have Garrett Wilson, Mekhi Lemon, A.D. Mitchell, great young O-line, Dante Moore. Don't know what the running back situation will be. Maybe you address that later in the draft. Maybe you just pick up a reclamation project, one of those free agents. I think Lemon, I know the defense is going to be bad, but you might have to stick it out for a year because your offense is going to be complete when you take a guy like Lemon, especially when you pair him up with Dante Moore. And all the attention is going to be on Garrett Wilson considering how good he is. I think the offense is just will be on another level if you add Lemon. The Lions are on the clock, a team that we did not expect to be in this position. Pick 17, that feels weird. This team was a Super Bowl contender for the past 2 years. Now, they're not back to the drawing board. The Super Bowl window, they're still there, but it's fading. Their offensive line is losing it. All right, Taylor Decker has been hurt a lot. He's getting old. Frank Ragnow, he returned out of retirement, but I doubt that lasts very long. Penei Sewell is still great, but the offensive line is old. They did not look good, and their secondary is bad. They don't have a secondary edge rusher. You're not going to take a corner here. Avion Terrell, this is not the pick here. They're better off finding someone later in this draft who can be a man coverage kind of guy. You could take Keldrick Falk, but he doesn't have the pass rush upside you're looking for alongside Aiden Hutchinson. He's more of a run stuffer, which I feel like they've already addressed very well. They have a pretty solid run defense. I think you gotta address the offensive line. And there's great value here. Spencer Fano, this is right about where I think he should be going. Pick 17. You can move Sewell to left tackle and put Fano at right side, or flip that, Fano left, Sewell right, or you put Fano in at guard, find another left tackle. You can use him wherever. He's a quality lineman. He has a first round grade for me. I think he's a guy that Campbell will like. High character guy. I think he could solve a lot of issues on this Lions team and get this run game back up and going. Get this offense back on track where they should be. I think it's a pretty good pick there. The Minnesota Vikings, they are in a tough spot. They don't have a running back to take here. They don't have a corner that you really want to take here unless you want to take a gamble on Avion Terrell. Don't know about that. You can't really take a safety here. They just don't have a lot of good options. I mean, Caleb Banks maybe for the upside. Vega Ione. It just doesn't feel. Now here's a pick. This intrigues me. I've thought about this. Kenyon Sadiq. Whether he comes out or not, I don't know. A lot of Oregon guys are returning. It looks like a 2024 Ohio State where a lot of guys came back and they won the national championship. Now, I don't know if they're going to win a national championship, but a lot of guys are coming back. They're not happy with how their season ended. I don't know if Sadiq will return, but I do know that he's a top 20 overall player in this class. And TJ Hawkinson has not really been TJ Hawkinson lately. He's injured all the time. He doesn't really have the same juice that he had in the first 3 years of his career. Maybe you trade Hawkinson, get some capital, or trade for a corner. Trade for a safety. I don't know. Or maybe you keep him, run a lot of 12 personnel. I think Kenyon Sadiq raises the ceiling of this offense a lot. I think the defense is already good. I don't know if Brian Flores is going to be gone, but if you keep Brian Flores and you get some quality, maybe a corner later in the draft, address some needs in free agency, get Kenyon Sadiq, your quarterback. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't know what they're planning. I think JJ McCarthy gets another year. I don't know if that's the answer, but Kenyon Sadiq, he'd be a fun pick. This isn't very predictive. For all I know, Kenyon Sadiq could fall to the Broncos at 31, or he could go to the Dolphins at 11. I don't know. I think it'd be a fun pick. If you guys think of something better, you could tell me in the comments, but I think I'm going to go with Sadiq here. I think he could make this team a lot better than they already are, which is pretty solid considering all the quarterback issues they had. Pick 18, they were knocking on the door of the playoffs. Alright, we are officially into the playoff teams. They have recently lost. Carolina just got knocked out on Saturday. But good news for them, Keldrick Falk fell to them at pick 19. Possibly a top 15 player. Right away, great run defender. Solid pass rusher. He doesn't have the highest ceiling, but I think they need D-line. They need help on the defensive line. Linebacker, but there's no linebacker. I don't think you take CJ Allen at this point. He is not a top 20 player. I think Keldrick Falk. Sorry about that. Technical difficulty. I think Keldrick Falk is a great pick. He's going to help this D-line out tremendously. That would be great if they manage to secure him. So I'm going to take Falk here, the Auburn edge rusher. 20 Cowboys are on the clock. They have Green Bay's pick. They lost in tragic fashion to the Bears. I know the Bears are ecstatic right now. They secured a playoff win. Congrats to them. The Packers now, they have some tough decisions to make. There's been some rumors. Is Matt LaFleur sticking around? Is John Harbaugh next up in Green Bay? I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on with Green Bay. Jordan Love, he's still your answer. He's on a big-time contract, but just hasn't really shown up in the playoffs a whole lot. He beat the Cowboys that one year, but I hate to say it. I know they're on the clock, but who doesn't beat the Cowboys in the playoffs? They are... Anyway, my point is Green Bay, a lot of questions, but they're not going to get their first round pick. The Cowboys have it, and they're going to be able to address their needs. They already took Sonny Styles, an elite linebacker. I think they need corner, and I think they have questionable guy, but a guy right here in Avion Terrell. He could be an option for them. And considering how the board has played out, I think that's their best course of action here. He has a lot of question marks, right? Can he translate his skills to the next level? Will his size be a factor? Is he going to get bullied? I don't know. He's played great at the collegiate level. That's promising. It runs in the family. His brother AJ Terrell's a great corner. Granted, he doesn't have Avion's size, but I think they just need youth. They need a new identity in that secondary. I think Avion Terrell could be the answer. I don't know. But I think they just take best corner available. That's going to be Terrell to me. Pittsburgh on the clock. And an interesting pick here. I think they could go corner. They would have to reach for sure. It would be a bit of a reach. They could go tackle, possibly. Broderick Jones is certainly not the answer. Do they take a shot on quarterback here? Maybe Trinidad Chambliss? I don't know. That's a bit of a reach. Depends on how he tests in the combine and everything, but I don't see a quarterback going at this point. I think they need a pass catcher. Without DK Metcalf in those suspension games against Cleveland and Baltimore, especially the Cleveland game, they couldn't move the ball without Metcalf. They had no one to be a pass catcher. How they lost that game is beyond me. To me, it looked like they were just worried about Myles Garrett breaking the sack record more than about winning the game, which in turn worked out. They made the playoffs anyway, but a very cowardly decision from Mike Tomlin. But no matter what their game plan was, they couldn't throw the ball. They don't have playmakers alongside DK Metcalf other than their tight end room, which is crowded. So I think as much as they don't take receiver in the first round, I think you got to go receiver. And it's got to be Boston or Concepcion. And to me, if I had to choose one, I think for Pittsburgh, I'm going to lean Concepcion. Boston is a big, big guy. 6'4", maybe 6'4.5". Possession guy. But you already have that size with Metcalf. Do you really want two tower receivers? I think Arthur Smith already has that huge size out of, his tight ends. Freiermuth, Washington, Smith, and then Metcalf. There is so much size on that team. And they don't have a lot of speed. They do not have a lot of guys who can really turn on the burners other than maybe Kenneth Gainwell and Calvin Austin. Concepcion is a guy who is short. He is shifty, 5'11", but he is fast. He can change this offense. He can be a playmaker for Arthur Smith, a tool, a gadget guy, move them all around. Quick screens, jet sweeps, quick slants, all that stuff. I think Concepcion would be a pretty good scheme fit and a nice complement to Metcalf. Provide a lot what they don't have in that offense. Quarterback, they can address that later, but I think they need to get a pass catcher aside from Metcalf. Chargers, easiest pick of my life. Offensive line. They got bullied by New England. They put up 3 points. Watching Justin Herbert run for his life out there, it hurt me. It hurt me to watch that. The best guard prospect you can ask for has fallen to you. Vega Ione. Super high floor. Ceiling, I don't know. But he's going to be a day one starter. He's great in pass protection. I don't think he gave up a sack all year, let alone a few pressures. He has been incredible for a Penn State team that has been nothing but disappointing. I think I'm not going to waste too much time here. Vega Ione. I think the Chargers know they're going to get him. It feels like a surefire pick. That's a great pick for them. Eagles. Whew. They lose to San Fran. A San Francisco team that was completely depleted of all their talent. All their guys injured, out. How did they do it? I don't know. But they did. The Eagles managed to lose. They have a lot of questions to be answered. And it doesn't really feel like it's on defense. Their defense played pretty good for the most part, except for the secondary. They gave up some big plays to Demarcus Robinson. What a resurgence from him. He was playing lights out. But I think he's got to start on offense, especially firing Kevin Patullo. That guy he's like Matt Canada. Terrible OC, doing a horrible job. Um, but I think their inability to run the ball efficiently established that with Saquon. I think that's where it starts. That right guard and right tackle position is wide open. I think a big guy like Caden Proctor, I think he's the answer. Or he might be. They got a great O-line coach there, Stoutland. I think he might be able to work his magic on Proctor, whether it's guard or tackle. I don't know. He is huge. I think they could use that size. I think he's a lot like Mekhi Becton in that way, where Becton dominated last year. Now, granted, he has not had that good of a year in LA, but they just need big dudes on that offensive line. They need to replenish. They need to be able to run the ball. That has to be the pick there. 24, the Browns are back on the clock. I believe we took O-line. We took Maui Noah with their 6th pick. It's either going to be you double dip on offensive line, which I could see that. They have terrible offensive line play. Or you get receiver to pair with that offensive line pick. And I feel like this is a bit of a deeper offensive line class. Guys like Lomu, Pregnon, Tiernan, Freeling, Blake Miller, they're going to be on the board probably into round 2. The Browns have a decently early pick in round 2. I'm not sure where. So I think you are better off taking your high-end receiver now, a guy who stands above the rest, Denzel Boston. I think this is an easy pick for them. Just go ahead and take them. They're wide receiver 1 of the future. 6'4", great hands, contested catch guy. He's shown that he can, crank up a bit of speed after the catch too. I think he's a great receiver. He doesn't have a lot of questions, and for a team that did not catch the ball well, Jerry Jeudy, crazy amount of drops. A guy who doesn't really drop the ball. I think he's a very safe pick for the Browns. High floor. His ceiling is, I don't know what his ceiling is, but just a very reliable guy for whatever quarterback is at the helm next year for them, which is a complete and total mystery right now. 25, Chicago Bears, fresh off their playoff win. Once again, props to them. They did a great job. And it's really going to be defense here. Either linebacker or D-line. TJ Edwards suffered a bad injury. But I think you don't really take CJ Allen here. I think you address the D-line first, and you get your run stuffer for the future. Caden McDonald. I think this has been the consensus pick for Chicago for a while now, and there's a reason for it. He is a beast. He's a big guy. 326, 6'3". He just clogs up the rushing lanes. Doesn't provide a lot as a pass rusher, but he can transform this run defense into something they have not had all year long. I think it's a perfect pick for them. 26. The Buffalo Bills, interesting pick here. They can't really go receiver as much as they would like to. It's going to be a second round thing. They got to go defense here, in my opinion. And Joey Bosa's not going to be a long-term option. They got a great replacement for him. Played out perfectly here. I think TJ Parker would be a great pick. He's going to have to play better than he did this most recent year, but if he can tap into what he was before that, Buffalo's getting a guy who was a lot better than pick 26. It's a great edge rusher for them. Hopefully they get the best out of him. 27, San Francisco. They have so many holes on their team, yet somehow they are picking bottom 6 right now, which is beyond me. I don't know how they do it. Kyle Shanahan is a wizard. Coach of the year. That's my pick. He is phenomenal. But they have to address their biggest need, and just from watching a lot of 49ers games, I had CMC in fantasy, they cannot run the ball. CMC had so many yards, but It was not efficient yards. It was grinding them out. It was mostly receiving. And just looking at O-line here, they need someone who can be a beast for them. They need help. Lomu or Pregnon. I think Pregnon is going to be a better run blocker. I think Lomu is much more solid in pass protection than he is run blocking. Pregnon is a lot more powerful. So I think he would fill up a big, spot for them on that O-line that they do not have at guard. He would help them run the ball a lot better. Pretty good pick for pick 27. I think that's a great pick for the Niners. 28, Houston. This one's got to be O-line. CJ Stroud has been getting tossed around all year. There's one guy that stands above the rest right now. Caleb Lomu. I think it's an easy pick. He doesn't have to play tackle. He can easily play guard, which I think, considering the tackles on this team, I think he will have to play guard. And I think he will happily play guard, considering he's on a great team. He's a young guy, but, he lacks experience, but I think that could be a very good pick for them. Rams are on the clock. They took Jermon McCoy. It's got to be defense again. I think linebacker. And you're not taking any other linebacker besides C.J. Allen. But granted, C.J. Allen is a dog. He is a run stuffer, a wrecking ball. I think it's a pretty easy pick for them right here. I'm not going to overthink it. C.J. Allen, get their linebacker for the future. Patriots up next. Don't have a lot of glaring needs. They are a very complete team. It's a tough one. Do you go edge? Do you go O-line? O-line, there's not a lot of guys I would take right now. But defensive side of the ball, there are some dudes who are available right now. And I think they just need pure pass rushers off the edge. Maybe a guy like Romello Height, although I'm not too high on Height. It's going to be a bit of a curveball. I want someone who can play on all three downs. Or Mason Thomas is like a third down kind of guy to me. Guy who I think can play all three downs. He's not really getting talked about a lot in terms of draft conversations. That's going to be Akeem Mesidor. I think he's going to get a lot of first-round hype as we move towards the draft process. He has been phenomenal across from Ruben Bain. This dude, he is great against the run. He is great in pass rush. He's a bit on the older side, sure, but he's got first-round potential. He could easily go in day 2, sure, but I'm high on him. I think he has done a great job against great offensive lines. Texas A&M, Ohio State, almost maybe not as much, but those are 3 great offensive line units, and he has blown them up every game. I think he is going to be a first-round caliber dude. The Broncos are on the clock, and alright, the Broncos are on the clock, and they don't have a lot of glaring needs. But I think you just want to go for a solid guy. You don't. They have a very weird team. I don't know how they win these games. They have so many one-score games. I think you got to take a guy with a high ceiling, maybe not the highest floor. To me, I'm going to send this one. This might be a bit risky. Chris Bell. He had a lot of first-round hype towards ACL. I think he can still be great. Who knows how it goes. It's more of a fun pick. Not very predictive, but I think it's a great one. Lastly, Eagles at pick 32. I think they just go corner. Best corner available by far, Brandon Cisse. I think he's a perfect scheme fit in Mike McDonald's defense. Not going to think about it too much. And that will complete my round 1 mock draft for 2026 now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.